Okay, welcome to the OddCast. I'm David,
I'm Johnny.
and we used to do this a few years ago, and now we're back behind the mic, and we're glad that you can join us. Those of you who have joined us.
I hope that our viewers are not disturbed by the sound of my dog. He cannot be quieted. Those of you that own big dogs, I'm sure will understand.
Yeah,
David surely knows.
yeah.
Surely.
I put a sign on the door, so hopefully they hopefully they understand. Um,
Well, this
well,
week
yeah,
we're gonna be discussing a few things, right? Exciting things that happened in between the 40s and 50s, actually into the 60s. Really, it's kind of wild. This stuff we're talking about, and all this is real. It actually happened. None of it is fiction. It's historical, historical record.
yeah. And what we've discussed here on the, I think this is new for us again. Like I said, we did this a few years ago, and we're still tweaking some things, but we're going to go along more the route of instead of some episodes might be a full blown podcast, an hour, maybe an hour, but for the most part, we're going to do little short form videos just on some interesting subjects that we find interesting and are curious about. And when I say we do our research, we do our research. I mean, I think we do. We buy the books, we read, we watch videos, and we discuss it amongst each other for hours on end until we formulate our own opinions. And there's a lot of common sense involved. I believe that a lot of people, a lot of it goes by the wayside, especially in this day and age. People just don't use common sense when it comes to stuff like this, and that's all really it takes, just common sense and a little bit of reading. So without further ado, this episode we're going to do on Operation HighJump. And Operation HighJump, just a brief synopsis, was it was a United States Navy development program in the late 1940s, 1946 to 1947. It was an organization. I mean, I'm sorry, it was an operation that was organized by Rear Admiral Richard Byrd. I'm sure, I don't know, maybe you guys have heard of him, maybe you haven't. But it was an operation designed to establish a research base in Antarctica called Little America 4. And again, it was headed by this guy, Rear Admiral Richard Byrd. And Johnny's going to tell you who Richard Byrd was.
Richard Byrd was quite a guy. I mean, the man pretty much accomplished everything you could possibly accomplish as a military man, and even more so he retired from the Navy with the Navy Cross. He was awarded the Medal of Honor by the Armed Forces. He was born Richard Evelyn Byrd Jr. in Virginia. Great middle name. The man was the direct descendant of John Rolfe and Pocahontas from the Jamestown, the Pilgrim deal. The man had a bona fide. He's a really interesting guy. He was friends with Henry Ford, the man who classically developed the Model T and started the Ford Motor Company.
And who also gave him seed money for his Arctic mission to the North Pole.
Yep. Who also, his little sidebar, was rumored to have Nazi ties and did actually sponsor and arm some of the Nazi military vehicles with motors and parts and that kind of thing.
Interesting.
Little sidebar. So this is a guy who was highly decorated. He was a no-nonsense guy. He was chosen to do this, or to take on this massive operation. Which was, Dave, how many ships?
Well, first I want to get into the books that we have.
Yes.
Johnny and I have a couple of books, and the book that I have, we wanted to research the man himself that was organizing this whole operation. The book that I have is called Skyward. Let's see if I can get it here without Skyward. And this is a book from 1928, and it's by Admiral Byrd, and Admiral Richard Byrd. Sorry, and it details his quest. I'm just going to read you just the small little excerpt from the intro. I'm sorry, just the what the book is about. It's man's mastery of the air, as shown by the brilliant flights of America's leading air explorer. His life, his thrilling adventures, his North Pole and transatlantic flights, together with his plans for conquering the Antarctic by air. And it's by Richard Evelyn Byrd, and it's very interesting. It's about 400 pages long. It details his flights to Greenland and the North Pole, and the crashes and the trials and tribulations that he went through, and his willingness or his longingness to go to Antarctica, and the mountains of doubt, circulating him on the way there. Why he was wondering why it was so high at the South Pole, over 10,000 feet above sea level, and he was just very, very eager to get there. So that's what my book is about. Johnny has another book that.
Richard, one of the things he did was he decided to send his entire crew back to resupply, and he decided to stay in a small observation post shack, basically like a big shed in Antarctica by himself, completely solo.
Nuts.
In the middle of the winter, which is bananas. And the guy almost died, and it's rumored that he kind of lost his mind, or he started to crack up, when he was there.
He's probably married.
He was married. But I wanted to read just a small little excerpt here. And this is, in the chapter called Despair, because when he really started to go south with his mental state. It said, the fact stood clear that one of my chances of recovering were slim. The other was that that in all my weakness I was incapable of taking care of myself. These were desperate conclusions, but my mood allowed no others. All that I could reasonably hope for was to prolong my existence for a few days by hoarding my remaining resources, by doing the necessary things very slowly and with great deliberation. So long as he did that and maintained the right frame of mind, even a very ill man should be able to last a time. So it just kind of shows you, you can imagine the circumstances. But the book is kind of wild. I haven't gone cover to cover. I kind of skipped around. It's got a couple hundred pages, 220 pages, I think. And this particular one, I think it's from 1930. This copy, anyways, is from 1933.
Can we see it?
Yes. It's kind of cool, kind of pretty. It's got a. I'll hold it up here. I don't want to break it. Very fragile.
Looks like Lord of the Rings.
It does, yeah.
Mm.
Kind of cool. The pages are they're very how the edges were cut kind of crinkly.
Same with mine, yeah.
Yeah.
They get that nice page feel to it.
Yeah, it's very, very cool book. 1938.
Nice. Okay.
But the guy was He's quite a man.
Hmm. Well, okay, so we just gave you a brief synopsis on who he is. Basically, he was an aviation guy in the Navy, and now getting back to Operation High Jump, and the books we spoke about obviously are before this operation, but jumping to the Operation High Jump, 1946 to 47. This is where all the meat is right here. This is where it starts to get really interesting. Is that for a research base, just the astounding number of people that he brought with them, 4,700 men.
Yeah, it's
In
crazy.
4,700 men, 13 ships, including submarines,
Yeah,
and 33 aircraft. Now, just to put that in perspective, the usual, we looked this up, the usual science base, establishing a science base in any country in the world, Antarctica included, the smallest scale. This is a temporary field base, it's called. The smallest scale, minimum personnel is 2 to 3 people. And that's field camps, that's tents, that's targeted projects. Medium scale is seasonal research station, right? Season by season, that's 10 to 50 people. Okay. Now, large scale science research bases, right? Year round, large scale, year round, personnel 20 to 100 people. And that's a fully operating station with year round research, which sees populations explode to maybe another 50 people during the summer months.
I would
Now,
add too that this is not our current society where we throw money around and we kind of
right,
we're
absolutely.
given to overspending. These were like frugal people fresh
Right.
off the Depression and World War. They didn't throw money around. This is a
Right.
huge undertaking and
So,
fabulously expensive.
so think about that. The largest science-based research to sufficiently build a sufficient station year-round, personnel 20 to 100 people. Okay, this man took 4,700 people, 13 ships with submarines, and 33 aircraft. So that's where stuff we start to ask ourselves questions. Why? Why that many people? An armada to go to Antarctica just to establish a research base. It just seems a little funky.
In
So
1946.
in 1946. So, Johnny, what do you think the official narrative is, in your opinion?
Well, I think officially, well, I mean, in my opinion, what they were doing was they were looking for Nazis.
Mhm.
And that's not just a conspiracy thing. That's like officially the Nazis were up running around, were
Absolutely.
down running around in the Antarctic rather, but
New
um,
Schwabenland. Look it
New
up.
Schwabenland, yeah,
New
it's a
Schwaben.
real thing. They had bases down there. There's all kinds of rumors and conspiracies about what they're doing down there, that range from uh, bases inside, a hollow Earth passage to flying machines that were Nazi like what we would consider to be a UFO.
Mm.
Um, just crafts that defied gravity and moved in strange ways and could move like nothing on Earth. And this is back in his diaries. You can read this as classified diaries that were declassified and now in print. You can read this actual account from him. It's wild.
Mm.
Which actually is right here.
Bingo. Can I read
Bingo.
a small excerpt? I mean, a small little
Please.
infograph from that.
My
Can you back it up just a little bit to your face? Yeah.
back. Bingo.
You gotta like tilt it. There you go.
Tilting. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Very cool book.
The
Wicked
Secret
easy to
Muscle
read.
Diary. Yes.
Very easy
Well,
to read. Very good.
so real quickly, this is Johnny has that book. It's called The Secret Lost Diary of Admiral Richard Byrd and the Phantom of the Poles, and it looks unbelievable. I haven't had a chance to read the whole thing, or I've sampled pages online. Johnny got the book, but it's and I'm just gonna read. Bear with me. I'm just gonna read just a small little paragraph, and so Right here. That's when Byrd was flying over the Antarctic and his scientific companions took off from their base at the South Pole. They managed to fly 1,700 miles beyond it, right? 1,700 miles into Antarctica. That's when the radio on Byrd's plane was put into use to report something utterly incredible. And there was a strange great valley below them. For some unknown reason, the valley Byrd saw was not ice covered, but it was green. It was luxuriant. It was mountains with thick forests and trees on them. There was lush grass. And most amazing, he said that there was animals, huge animals observing. He observed moving through the underbrush. And he had discovered a strange, huge valley where the weather temperature was something like 75 degrees. And a lot of people say that it was a hoax, or a lot of people, but Johnny, do you mind reading that that part in the book, the diary that you read to me a while ago about him being a military
man? Let me just give you a couple little tidbits here before I get to that, because this stuff is nuts.
Okay.
I'm just not gonna read real far into any of it. I'll just give you a little taste there. It says we made another left turn and we spot what seemed this takes place when Dave's talking about them being in. This is 105 hours in. We made another left turn. I think that's military time, actually. 1005. I don't think that means like 1,005 hours, but anyways. We made another left turn. We spot what seems to be a large animal of some kind below us. It appears to be an elephant. No, it looks like a mammoth, a woolly mammoth. This is incredible. Yet there it is, a couple pages away. Off our port and starboard wings, there are strange types of aircraft that are closing rapidly alongside of us. They're disc-shaped and have a radiant quality to them. They are close enough now you can see markings on them. It's some type of swastika. This is fantastic. That's this guy. He's
fantastic.
That's what he's writing. But yeah, we were talking between the two of us. We were saying, like, why doesn't anyone know about any of this? And this excerpt here explains all that. When he came back to the States, his superiors didn't want to have anything to do with any of this. Just like the current, UFO thing, every other country in the world admitted that these, UAPs are real, except for America, and we went forever. I think we were the last one. It says, all is duly recorded. The president has been advised. I am now detained for several hours, 6 hours and 39 minutes to be exact. I am interviewed intently by top security forces and a medical team. It was an ordeal. I am placed under strict control by way of the national security provisions of the United States of America. I am ordered to remain silent in regard to all I have learned on behalf of humanity. Incredible. He said, I am reminded that I am a military man and must obey my orders. This is the last entry of his diary with the explanation of why he couldn't tell anybody about what he was doing out there. I mean, there's classified stuff and then there's declassified stuff. All the stuff that had to do with navigation and all that, you could, anyone can read or could.
But there is stuff still. I mean, you can, like we were talking about before, it is factual. You can look it up. Why there are still classified things coming from that original Operation HighJump. And you can argue that it's because trajectories, air currents for missiles or whatever it may be. Sure, but there are apparently boatloads of information that's still classified by the CIA regarding that initial Operation HighJump. And
look what happened with the Antarctic Treaty.
Right. Yeah.
Every country in the world, 10 years later, every country in the world, or
almost every single country in the world. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. How it's hard for countries to agree on anything, and for them to agree on one single continent. The Antarctic Treaty, that there'll be peace between all these countries. Excuse me, for this one country. It begs to be researched, and the official narrative, I am not a crook. It's just common sense dictates that something else is happening. I mean, it's just, well, for me, anyways. That's just my personal opinion. So,
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at this. I think the official thing, what they gave as the official narrative, just doesn't hold water as far as I'm concerned. You're not gonna go with that amount of manpower, that amount of equipment right after the World War II. All of our resources were depressed as a country. We lost a lot of able-bodied men. We were melting down church bells to make bullets. I mean, it's not like you're going to throw money around. So
to establish a scientific research base,
I don't buy it.
With almost 5,000 men, 13 ships with submarines, and 33 aircraft. When in the 20s, in his first expedition to the South Pole, Richard Byrd writes in this book called Skyward. You can look it up if you'd like. It's a great book. In the 1928, he took 54 men with him, one ship.
That sounds
one ship, 54 men, and one large monoplane and two small monoplanes. And now fast forward, you're going to jump from 54 men to almost 5,000 men. They found something. They found something worth, bringing that many men and that much. They had 2 destroyers with them, 2 Navy destroyers.
Right.
So
you're not going to bring a destroyer with all that armament and munitions on a scientific expedition. You have to pay so much money to, you got all the salaries, the men, the equipment, the fuel, you really think about it for science
right
back then, you're not going to throw that kind of money around for science.
And whether
it wasn't a space race. I mean, you know what I mean? Like that was a different story,
and whether to research or whether to we asked the question, okay, why that many men, why that many ships, why that many aircraft, to rout out the Nazis that were there, to maybe find something that they found out, and through our intelligence maybe we wanted to get there before them, maybe to stop them from experimenting on whatever they were experimenting there, if that was the case. But I can confidently say that it wasn't just a research base to research tides and air currents. I don't buy it for a second. So
hell no.
But that's Operation HighJump in a nutshell.
But before we move on, I think
yeah, I'm not moving on. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say there's another kind of thing, like in recent years. The flat Earth theory has gained a lot of ground. A lot of people think it's absolutely ridiculous. A lot of people.
I have a poster of it. I have a poster of it right behind me. I'm just going to take my background off here, and I'm just going to go up real quickly. That's the Orlando Ferguson, and I believe in the early 20s. That's the Earth in the middle, and that's the Antarctic ice wall surrounding it right there. And that's why he thinks it's so high, 10,000 feet above sea level, and the sea dips down. But I'll bring up I can actually share the screen with you.
I was just thinking about Ferguson. Just thinking about the same thing.
If you want to look up the Orlando Ferguson, if you have it. If not, I can bring it up.
Here we go. Watch this one. This is the same map. It's a derivative. It's a version of that same map. So the flat Earth theory, what they're proposing, and it initially sounds crazy, but the more and more you look at it, if you deny the validity of NASA based on their black budget and their years of faking faking basically everything, and including the moon landing, this map here, this is what they consider Antarctica to be. It's a wall that surrounds the known Earth. The walls are very high, you know, and then like in Byrd's diaries, and then before Byrd, you had Captain Cook from Australia. He in some of his diaries and things, he said that there was hundreds of feet high walls, or hundreds of feet high, and I think he sailed for what 62 miles without finding uh, any kind of inlet in that at all.
I believe so. Yeah, something like that. Yep.
Something like that. But
Yep.
either way, we were remarking on it, and I think the one of the alternative theories is that if this model was correct, it would explain obviously the Operation HighJump moniker.
Theory.
That moniker would explain. They have to get up above this ice wall and then try to figure out what's going on up here in this unknown territory around it. And then in this model, there's an enclosed system. So there's a dome over the earth to enclose it, like a greenhouse almost. And that dome, referred to by the ancients, and in this theory is the firmament, it's called.
Right.
So
right.
Proponents of this theory claim that Byrd went up there, found the ends, basically, or the beginning rather, of the firmament as it touches the land, and then directly after that we started nuking the sky. For we talk about some other time.
Yeah, that's
thousands.
actually the next oddcast we're going to get into, detailing everything from Operation Dominic, Operation Red Wing, Operation Starfish Prime, and the aptly named Operation Fishbowl. Now I'm going to share this one I have with you real quickly. This one right here. You let me know if you can see the image move on your screen.
I can see it. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to zoom out here. You can see here Greenland, North America, Alaska. Here's the moon over here, and here's the sun over here, and they rotate. And this is the. It's just it's interesting to think about. It's always fascinating to me. Studying, researching just different areas of thinking. Why accept the official narrative when the truth is always stranger than fiction. So here we have along, like Johnny was saying, along the outer edge, the Antarctic ice wall, and yep, it's going around the whole Earth here, and there's just it's just very interesting seeing different ways of thinking. And but anyways, yeah, that's for another oddcast of why we were shooting nukes up in the sky, directly up in the sky. And we here on the oddcast think it was to pierce the firmament. But again, that's for another time. Let me get back to this here.
It's a fascinating thing. As silly as it sounds initially,
yeah,
the more you look into it,
yep,
and the more open you are. I think initially it doesn't work unless you deny the religion of NASA.
Sure.
And I think the more you look into NASA, that's another podcast that's in the pipe. If you can get there and you say, okay, you know what? The moon landing didn't happen. It was all soundstage. It was all, it was the biggest hoax perpetrated on humanity in history. Which I actually believe that. I'd put my house deed on that.
Sure. Yeah.
If you start there, then it all kind of, if you're willing to admit that to yourself, you think, well, why the hell wouldn't they? What if you're going to throw that much money and manpower and everything at a science expedition, that would start to kind of explain it to me.
Right.
Like they're like, holy crap, we got to figure out, what we're doing here. We got to figure out if we can get through this thing.
Mm-hmm.
We got to figure out how high it is. We got to figure out, if we can poke a hole in it.
Not even, it's just the implications of being under Operation Fishbowl, the implications of being under a firmament, what that would do to the collective mind across the whole entire Earth. People would think that they're trapped, and I think it would make people act differently. But anyways, it's this is where I think your host here. We're going to start with Operation High Jump, and like I said, move on through the years. Eventually, going through the operations of piercing through the firmament and going to NASA and the moon hoax, all the way to Project Blue Beam and beyond. So I think we've covered Operation High Jump, and I think that this has been very informative for me as well. I mean, just talking about it, it piques my interest about all this stuff. But thank you for joining us on our first episode back of the OddCast. And again, was Operation High Jump. And if anybody's interested in reading this stuff, you'll see. Just go back. You'll see the books, and I'll try to post the links as well as the YouTube video underneath, so you can follow along with us or follow along at your own leisure. And again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
And if anyone wants to know more about any of this stuff, please let us know.
Yes,
we're feeling out the audience here. This is a fresh thing. We're just talking about stuff that's interesting to us. The topic of NASA and Nazis and flat Earth and UFOs and all this stuff. You can hear this stuff kind of on any podcast, but we want to look at it all kind of, with a fresh look at it, and not take, the mainstream, opinion of what's going on. So if there's a considerable amount of interest in something, we'll go into it. We'll research it and talk about it.
Nice. Well said. All right. Well, again, OddCast. I'm Dave.
I'm Johnny.
Thanks for listening.